This was beautiful. So, I'm an avid One Piece fan. I have caught up with the manga and I have watched the episodes of East Blue, episodes of Skypiea. I've seen everything One Piece. I read the SBS, I read that weird light novel that Ace had, and then I read the much better Boichi version of the Ace light novel, which was significantly better. I'm always on the prowl for more One Piece content, so I decided to watch the One Piece live action. Now, season 1, I hated. I mean this with my whole chest. I did not like, in any capacity, season 1 of the One Piece live action. I have stated this multiple times. I have stated hundreds of times that I didn't like the One Piece live action season 1. As a matter of fact, I wasn't going to watch season 2. The only reason I'm watching season 2 is because my friend turned off hardware acceleration on their PC so I could watch it in Discord. So I spent, basically all of last night watching all of One Piece season 2. And oh my god, it is it is so good. This definitively is the only live action that I think is good. It has substance. There's a reason for its existence. So the biggest issue I have with live actions is one reason and one reason alone. What is the purpose of the existence of the live action? There's already a medium to enjoy. Is to bring in new fans? Is an expansion of the story? This does both. So the first moments of the first episode of the season 2 of the One Piece live action were amazing. I was super excited to see Nico Robin just go buck wild on everybody. They talk about Mr. 7 bringing up, and seeing Mr. 7 actually appear behind being mentioned in SBS is nice. They did it in the first season and I enjoyed that expansion, but it gives me an idea of what the reasoning for the live action was overall. The first episodes were just amazing. It expanded so much, it changed so many different plot elements. It was great. And I have spent literal decades inside the world of Monkey D. Luffy and the Straw Hats through manga pages and anime episodes, and somehow this live action found a way to give me something new instead of just reenacting scenes. I already memorized, I read One Piece like once a year. I already memorized all the stuff. This is incredible. This is really good. Someone on the production team is reading deep fan trivia at 3 in the morning, and I love that. They must be a Redditor. This level of attention to detail, it feels so nice to see, and I'm happy Eiichiro Oda is actually overseeing everything. It's somebody who understands that the fans who keep the story alive for 20 years deserve to be surprised rather than being comforted with the same moments they've already seen a dozen times. And that is the entirety of the One Piece season 2 live action. It is really good. Gotta gush about Nico Robin for a second because the animation or the CG or whatever they're using, the special effects, that's the word I'm looking for. Special effects of her hands coming out and taking out all the Marines. She feels dangerous. So dangerous in this. It is crazy. She is terrifying when she first appears. She's an assassin, has calm intelligence. She's a woman who has survived through darkness to learn to move through the world, and you can feel that with the character. It is good. And talking about just all the costumes, and the costumes are crazy. The background characters are crazy. This is a random background character with so much sauce and aura, and the mechanics of the world, the diversity of everybody in the world, not even brought up. It's just a natural part of the One Piece world. Nobody brings it up. Nobody mentions it. The silliness and goofiness is never in any instance brought up at all. Mr. 5 shows up looking 1-to-1. He looks amazing. It's great. This is the best this is the best live action I've ever seen. I really gotta talk about the praise about the background development, the background characters, because the wardrobe design, whoever's designing the wardrobe paid so much attention. Every marketplace, every bar, every random alley carries dozens of people wearing outfits that scream, oh, this is One Piece. This is One Piece. The variety of clothing, it feels so inhabited in. The world feels so lived in. It's crazy. So despite the lighting being better, the characters being better, and all that jazz, my favorite thing is watching the Straw Hats interact. They behave like a family. They're learning each other, learning the differences. You actually get to see these relationships nurture. There's a moment where you see Usopp and Sanji, and they're about to get some cheeks. They're about to do a tag team. They're about to do a two-man. Well, Usopp and Sanji are going to do a two-man. If you don't know what a two-man is, two women approach Sanji and say, "Do you have a friend?" And Sanji and Usopp, come get some cheeks. They are about to do. Usopp and Sanji are about to do a two-man. You're not listening to me. Usopp, bravest warrior of the sea. Sanji, and it's crazy because Sanji's not a pervert at all in any capacity. He's just suave, smooth, and Usopp even compliments him at one point, saying he enjoys his jawline and he's having a good time. It's so good. We get to see Usopp and Nami actually interact, and it's very nice to see them have this cadence with each other. Everybody is basically babysitting Luffy, and they're so in love with his infectious energy. Zoro is cold, stoic, but kind of dumb, which is really nice. I enjoy the dumbness of Zoro, how he doesn't know certain things. He appears stoic, but he's actually really dumb. And I think the anime and manga sometimes blast through arcs so fast that you barely see them exist together outside of the fights or dramatic moments. And early One Piece, I missed that. They had those moments ever so slightly, but they really flesh it out in here. And by the time it gets lost in the rush towards the next village, the show slows down enough to let characters breathe. Those conversations stretch so much longer. Jokes land so naturally. It's so good that the jokes in this series aren't just Marvel. You know what I mean? They're not just Marvel random slop. It's really good. Watching Zoro get told off by Usopp. Usopp said, hey, stop bothering me, man. Just stop. And Zoro says, hey, man, you could have been nice about it. Whatever. I didn't suspect that. No one told me that was gonna happen. And the ship feels like an actual workplace. They're having conversations on the ship. Usopp is having conversations with Sanji about what's going on there. And you would only hear these things in the SBS, but it is clear that there is information in the SBS sprinkled about in little teasers and snippets for people that don't watch the show and people that know a lot about the show. It doesn't matter if you're a new fan or an old fan or if you're trying to get back into One Piece. This is the show for you. This is really the show for you. I do appreciate how you can actually see people doing their job on the ship. Usopp is cleaning, and that's really good. That's really fun. Nami is actively, and I mean actively, being a navigator. That's nice. We did see it before in early One Piece, but reminiscing on those things again is very important for me. Now I gotta talk about something that pisses me off, and I think the best way I can describe it is talking about Monkey D. Luffy and Naki. Okay, so the only way I can really describe this, and it's my own personal gripe. It's not even an issue with the show. If you like Inaki, I'm proud of you, and I'm happy you enjoy him. I just need you to listen to these two voice lines and just listen to them.
My name is Monkey D. Luffy. I will find the One Piece and become king of the pirates!
I think knowing Luffy in real life might piss me off. I don't know. So the two things I showed you was the Japanese dub of the live action and then the English dub of the live action. Maybe I just don't like his voice, but it can't be that, because I really do enjoy his voice. It's his actions. I've heard his voice in interviews and I enjoy it. I think the actor has improved since season 1 and clearly works hard to embody the character's energy, yet the delivery of certain lines, I don't know, it reminds me that I'm in a live action. It really unimmerses me. I don't know. There's a moment where Luffy loudly declares his dream of being the Pirate King, the one I just showed you. I don't know, everyone around him just looks kind of mildly irritated. He just kind of says it, and everybody just said, yeah, we get it, King of the Pirates, we got it. And it's a fun joke, but I can understand how that would be annoying if he just keeps saying it. I genuinely laugh because it feels like the characters themselves were thinking the exact same thing the audience was thinking. The dissonance between Luffy's performance and the naturalistic acting around him creates moments where the show feels very slightly off kilter and very off balance. That's just my interpretation of the live action. I think the weakest actor is 100% Luffy. That's just how I feel. Big issue I had with season 1 was the lighting. I am a stickler for good lighting, and I don't think the season 1 had good lighting at all. This season, the color grading is so much better. The visual tones of the entire show feels more vibrant compared to the first season. The colors pop. The environments feel sunny and chaotic and full of energy. Exactly the way One Piece should feel when the crew is not trapped in some dark government facility. Season 1 often carried this like muted gray palette. I don't know what that was about. It just felt as if the production team was full of emo kids. Don't know what was going on there. Didn't really feel that. But the visual chaos and color popping of the world is beautiful. There's a carnival scene where the color colors pop so flaringly and so beautifully. And then Bartolomeo was there. Bartolomeo was there. They introduced Bartolomeo. He's just there. Oh, it's so good. He's just in the show now. They show him early. It's great. Another thing that's really good about the show is the lore, the expansion of lore. Goldie Roger appearing sick, the reverie being popped up. They had King Taco. We got King Taco. King Taco was in the show. King Taco's here. King Taco. And then we got King Hamburg. I believe it's King Hamburg. I believe it's this. He looks like Abraham Lincoln is this guy. The costume designing, by the way, is outstanding. But King Taco. Look at King Taco. King Taco's here. Yes, it's a racist caricature, but man, it's King Taco. Come on, guys. It's great. I just appreciate the way the flashbacks work with Goldie Roger and all these other characters. And it's these small expansions enrich the mythology so much, and it's so good. They feel like respectful additions rather than what I feel live actions do with these unnecessary alterations. It's nice to find gaps in the narrative and decide to fill them rather than leave them empty. And those are King Taco's here. King Taco's here. Can we get King Taco in the comment section? King Taco's here. And then so many little fan service moments throughout the entirety of the show were just sprinkled in throughout the thing. It was so nice. Buggy dressed as a judge. He's probably the best actor in the entirety of it. He pops up and he has so much infectious energy, and him actually playing up to the clown bit is so much fun. And if a person was being a clown and being goofy like that, I would expect them to be that ridiculous. Alvita did good. I have nothing much to say about her. I'm not going to talk about every single character. I'm just going to talk about the parts that I like. Seeing Bartolomeo, witnessing Luffy's execution and witnessing him come off of that, it shows why he's so infatuated with him later on. It was a continuity issue that has bothered me for quite some time, but I'm happy that if you are watching the live action, you don't get that continuity issue. And that kind of nerdy dedication, I think deserves applause. I think that's important. They could have not included Bartolomeo. They could have just not put him in there. Could have just left him to the side. It's so good. I enjoyed the Whiskey Peak section overall. I enjoyed how beautiful and vibrant the town was. And watching Whiskey Peak, I discovered something. In my own way, I thought, hold up a second. Maybe I want to live in the One Piece. Before I forget, I got to talk about something important too. Biggest weakness in this whole show is the fighting. I think that's the biggest weakness. And I cannot say in good faith that I enjoy watching any of the fight scenes. I think I slightly enjoy Smokers. It's the biggest major weakness. It's the fight choreography. The Zoro versus 100 people in Whiskey Peak, him counting them down. And the PTSD Mihawk that kept popping up was so good. He just kept popping up randomly. It's just... You're a coward. I guess that is important because you don't want to waste an actor in that variety. Just having him be a PTSD actor, having him be Zoro's PTSD is a great way to keep the actor in the show. It's so nice to have that. And this can be incorporated through flashbacks as well to keep actors within the show. Having those flashbacks makes you have a Gold Roger. And I'm just going to talk about this. Dragon pops up, and which is cool. He's like an indigenous guy. I appreciate him. He's very indigenous. What? Sabo pops up for a frame. I can't. Sabo pops up for like one frame. He looks stupid. I don't know. I think that he has no drip. Sabo is the most dripless character I've ever seen. And this is the worst drip I've ever seen in my entire life. I just hate it. Anyways, many of the battles feel very stiff or overly staged compared to the fluid chaos One Piece fans expect when it comes to the One Piece combat. There's no fluidity to them, right? Because fights are supposed to spiral into creative absurdity, and it's supposed to be good. There are certain scenes that I enjoy. There's a moment where Zoro and Sanji are fighting a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it's a one-shot. They basically one-shot the T-Rex. That's cool. I like that. There are very good exceptions. Smoker, all his fight scenes are good. I think all of Smoker's fight scenes are good. They're just all good. Robin's scenes are really good. I think Robin's fight scenes are amazing, despite the fact she has one of them, just basically one of them. But they still lack the explosive unpredictability the source material thrives on. And I hope as the seasons go on, they actually go into it and understand more within it. This is going to be really specific. The Cowboy Bebop live action had better fighting than the One Piece live action. If I could be so bold to say that, I feel like they're leaning too deeply into the goofy power aspect of it. And I do agree that One Piece has a lot of goofy powers, but even the regular fights could have better choreography. They could just have better choreography. I just feel like they can have better choreography. Maybe get a better fight choreographer, perhaps. That's my biggest complaint about the entire live action, is probably that. But despite all those flaws, we got Brooke singing, and the singing was really good. I enjoyed that aspect. We got Crocus being there, and Crocus was really fun to witness. Despite everything, the show succeeds because the world itself feels alive in a way few adaptations achieve. The stage work is amazing. The lighting, the costume work, even the little snippets of the environment, everything is so well put and put together, and I want to give credit to all these people that made that. It feels, it's in a way that makes you forget that you're watching a television show and feels like you're visiting old friends. I want to be friends with Usopp. I'd love to be friends with Usopp. He actually feels more tolerable, dude. I never thought I'd like Usopp. Sanji is not a creep. Zoro is funny. Nami seems grounded in a real character and doesn't always hit Luffy for being goofy, and I appreciate that non-anime bit of gag. I probably wouldn't like Luffy in real life. He feels really annoying. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really don't like that guy. I feel like I wouldn't like Luffy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like I'd really enjoy Usopp because there's some moments with Dorian Bragi that really make me excited. It fixes the coward issue with Usopp, because I believe it was Bragi. Who had said, you had asked me what it was like, how do I not fear death? I don't trust the warrior who doesn't fear death. You do it afraid. The bravest warriors are the most afraid of death. That hit so hard. Watching the Straw Hats talk, argue, laugh, and wander through the strange towns creates the feeling that you could just step into the frame and exist in that universe. That the world exists beyond the camera shows, and it continues living where you're not watching moments. And Whiskey Peak genuinely made me laugh out loud because of the absurd humor of One Piece survived the transition to live action. That's good. For a few minutes, I even caught myself thinking how fun it would be to live in a world before remembering the slavery, the world government conspiracies, the genocide, the corporate nobles, and the fact that the entire islands could get destroyed by god-tier powers on a regular basis. And then I realized that's basically the life I live now, and I'm saying, just put me in a One Piece world at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's basically life right now. Put me in a One Piece world. I would enjoy it. It's great. I love the One Piece world. It's so good. It's so good. There's so many different moments of the story that I was witnessing and watching. I was watching these actors go into their true form. I was watching the very small iterations from the Mihawk PTSD ghost of Zoro to the Straw Hats fleshing out their characters to the beautiful costuming work of Mr. 3, even Crocodile, Mr. Zero, watching the beauty of every single aspect and the loveliness of the reverie and how they deal with the costume design, and watching the flashbacks and watching the King of Alabasta and watching Vivi and people complaining about the skin tone, and none of that mattered while I was watching it. No, I didn't even think about the skin tone of the characters. I only cared about the acting and how important it was, and I felt so enamored by every single piece of it. By the end of the season, I realized something strange. I felt emotional. Actual tears appeared during certain scenes. It was nice. It wasn't cheap drama or chagrin music cues. It was because it captured the spirit of the story in a surprisingly sincere way that reminded me why I fell in love with this world decades ago. Nowadays, in One Piece, I barely can tell you about the entire aspect of the world building. I feel like sometimes I'm dragging through One Piece simply for the power scaling and the big world events and the payoffs from staying along with this story for so long. But the reason I got really into One Piece was the biggest reason that I get into most stories. It is the world building. It is the showing without telling. It is the beauty of these aspects in the world. And this is a pure love letter showing that world building in ways that I feel beautiful. This adaptation does not feel like a cynical cash grab. It is amazing. It is a love letter to one of the greatest adventure stories ever written. This was clearly written by people who understand the story matters because of how it makes people feel, not about how much money it can generate. And I gotta talk about big Anthony Helicopter, bro. Anthony Helicopter pops up. Now you may be wondering, who's Anthony Helicopter? That's Tony Chopper, baby. I'm talking about the big goat. I like his monster form a lot because he looks like a monster. He looks like a monster. That I've heard people complain about it online. I think it looks great. I'm using my own opinion. I don't care about the online opinion. He looks amazing. I think he looks fantastic. Now, I don't like Tony Chopper, and Dr. Hero Look is a scammer and a scoundrel, but this made me like Dr. Hero Look a lot more. It made me understand the experimentations of Dr. Hero Look. I appreciate Dr. Hero Look's story in this capacity a lot more because it feels more genuine. It feels nice that he's taking risks. I love that. If season 3 maintains this level of care, this level of passion, this level of obsessive attention to world building detail, this series might be one of the most successful anime adaptations ever attempted. It might finally break the curse that has haunted live action anime for decades. I didn't like the first season, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Season 2, dramatically better. Oh my god, dramatically better. This show has earned the right to keep going. It has earned the trust of me, one of the greatest One Piece critiquers of all. I critique One Piece so much. This is not some pale imitation. This is so rare and precious and worth protecting. And I'm just so happy that we get something good. This is amazing. Anyways, anybody know where we're getting Avatar Last Airbender Season 2? Remember that? Remember this thing? Remember that? I don't know if we're ever gonna get that. We're never getting that. That's crazy. That's in the woo. That's in the woodworks. That's done. Anyways, let me know your thoughts about the One Piece Season 2. I think it's amazing. I'd give it a 8 out of 10. I think an 8 out of 10. I didn't like the fighting. That's my biggest complaint. And Luffy could act better, I'd say. And that maybe just be his accent, though. I'd really... It might be a little racist on my end. I'm not gonna lie to you. It might just be his accent. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I feel as though he could act better somehow. For some reason, I'm just not feeling the acting with Inaki. That's it. Everything else is perfect. Usopp is a great character now. Sanji's amazing. I really enjoy Zoro. Nami is great. As the cast gets bigger, it's gonna get crazier. I enjoyed the scene with Brook. Crocus was amazing. The costume design was outstanding. The lighting was great. The PTS Mihawk Ghost, I'm gonna keep bringing up. I enjoyed how we got Reverie costumes. There's so much I could talk about, and I enjoy it deeply. I just wanted to get this video out because I wanted to talk about it and tell you to go watch it, so we could talk about it live maybe one day. I don't know. We could just have a fun conversation, talk about the One Piece live action live. Anyways, I'm out. Peace. Bye.
Good night, be my lover. Happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. I love the ride.